I hope you had success in creating that star tattoo design, and now we're going to move on to trying this butterfly design. We're going to look at some different brushes and you're going to work on your line quality. So let's get back to Procreate. We will go straight to Procreate and we should be in our gallery, and we are going to make a new canvas by selecting the plus sign. We are still going to work on a paper size. And here's our new canvas. See if you can remember the steps to import that reference photo. So we're going to the Actions menu, insert a photo, select our reference again, resize it, but now we want to have that butterfly front and center. Here we go. All right, and deselect, go back to our Layers menu, select the N, bring our opacity down, and we're going to create a new layer. This will be our drawing. And because this is another almost symmetrical design, we could use the symmetry tool. I am noticing that down here in this area here, it is not quite symmetrical, so you could decide to do this part on a separate layer. But for the most part, we have a fairly symmetrical design, so I think I'm going to use that symmetry tool again. So making sure I'm on my drawing layer, I go to the Actions menu, the canvas, turn on the drawing guide, edit drawing guide, go to the line of symmetry. So this, what I didn't mention last time, so the blue dot is how you can move your line of symmetry, and then the green dot is how you can rotate your line. I should have paid more attention to that in the last one because I think that's why my line was off. I'm not going to worry too much about it because once we turn the reference off, it doesn't really matter. It will still be symmetrical. All right, so we get our line of symmetry where we want it, and we will say done, and then we're ready to draw. So I just want to point out in the brushes menu, so I particularly like the monoline brush under calligraphy because it does smooth my line out. So if you notice, like, it's going to automatically make these like funky little, it's smoothing my line out as I go, so I can be really loose. I'm still better at drawing on paper than on the iPad, so this helps me out, but it can be annoying too because it's like it's stuck to the pencil, right? So this is just one option for a brush. Another brush that I really like is under inking. The Studio pen is a pen that I like that doesn't stick like the other one. You'll notice like it kind of assists you a little bit, but it doesn't have that same kind of sticky quality as the other one. See, it didn't try to smooth my line out at all, so you could play with that. That's another brush that I like. But I encourage you to take a look at some different pens. You know, sketching has more of a pencil feel to it. Painting will have more of a paint feel, and there's some opacity issues with painting. So I generally stick to either Studio pen or monoline. You could try them out, see which ones you like. I'm going to go back to monoline just because I think it will be good for, I just have found that I really like that one. All right, so we have our line of symmetry set up. We have our brush picked out. You can stick with black or change your color if you like, and then we're going to start drawing. So this design is obviously more complex than the star design. The star design, all of our lines were just, you know, nice, even, one thickness, whereas these lines vary in thickness, right? We have they taper at the end, get thicker in the middle, and then taper again at the end. So they're a little bit harder to control. They also have this space in the middle that needs to be full. So I'm going to 2-finger tap. I'm just going to get rid of all that scribble scratch that I just did. All right, and now I'm going to actually try to draw my lines. So when I talk about line quality, we're talking about how do we get nice smooth lines that are even on the outsides and not jaggedy. That's one reason why I do like the monoline, because it is an even thickness all the way around versus, let's say, the Studio pen, which is another one that even though I like it, if I draw that line, see here, it's really bumpy. Unlike this one that's just, it automatically smooths it for you. You have a choice over what you want to use, but I find that the monoline helps me achieve better line quality because at least the outside of the line is nice and smooth. All right, so let's take a look at how that's going to work. I'm just going to start, I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to start tracing this first shape that I have here. So here's the bottom. You know, it's not perfect. And I can't use that handy quick shape tool right now because even though I'm seeing all these little bumps here, the quick shapes would just make it into a straight line, which I definitely do not want this time. So I'm going to try my best to outline this shape. And I'm going to make sure that my, here at the ends, that the shape is closed. And then I can use the color drop to fill that in. But it's still really bumpy. It doesn't look nearly as nice as the original design. So now I have to work on my line quality. I want to refine the edges of that line to make it more professional, more like the original design. So in order to do that, I have some options. So one thing I could do is I could zoom in, I could work on the size, change the size of my brush over here on the left-hand side, and I can just go back and go over and try to smooth that line out. All right, and I could do that for a little while. So at least the nice thing is I have my symmetry guide turned on, so I only have to do this once. I don't have to do this on the other side, which you can see where that symmetry tool comes in really handy. So this is one way I can do it, and you might not even be able to see what I'm doing because I'm just using a tiny brush and I'm just going along the edges like here and trying to smooth that out. And I could go back and forth. This time I went outside of the line, so I could go to my eraser tool and go along the edges and smooth that out. All right, it's not the most fun thing in the world to do. It's pretty tedious, and you can make mistakes like I did, and you're going in and out and in and out. So that's one way to do it. All right, there's another tool we can use also called the liquify tool. So, you know, we're just practicing. This might be good enough for you. For me, I would want to continue smoothing out that line. So over here in the adjustments panel, way down towards the bottom, there's this tool called liquify. And I was noticing that my line overall was kind of going over the original design too far. So I'm on this push feature, which is all the way on the left. And if I have that selected and I go over here on my canvas, you see it gives me this outline tool. And I can use this to kind of adjust the overall curve of the line. It doesn't help with those little tiny bumps quite so much. But if you have drawn your line and you're like way off of the original design, you can kind of push your lines around a little bit to smooth them back to the shape that you want them to be. So even I'm just noticing here is kind of pushing that squiggle. Right, so if you're kind of close to the line that you want, but not quite, you can use the liquify tool. It does some crazy things too, which we don't want to do, but fun things in here to just kind of adjust the edges of your design. And I honestly haven't played with all of them, but you can see. All right, but we're talking about line quality, so I'll turn this off. So you're working on this design. Your job is to try and see if you can replicate these shapes as nicely as possible. Yeah, see, the quick shapes do us no good. I left my pencil down a little too long. All right, you can kind of trace those. You can experiment with the liquify tool, or just using your brush, zooming in and out to kind of refine your edges. So that in the end it looks like a carefully drawn image with nice even lines, outlines. Because if you were going to get a tattoo on your body, you would not want it to be all bumpy. You want it to be professional as much as possible. All right, and that should work for all of your lines for the most part. This one is nice because it's just a skinny little thing. Okay, here we have one nice little, because it's symmetrical, that's going to be funky. So I would suggest probably for this inside part, we're going to make a new layer for this part because it's not symmetrical. I just did that really quick. And then probably for your quick shapes here, you could just use the circle. I'm going to move this one down. All right. Okay, so your goal with this one, try to recreate it. Nice line quality, play with brushes, see which ones you like, and see if you can finish this one next. All right, good luck. I look forward to seeing what you create.